was just talking to my coworker. He's 25. He was born here in Florida. And he said, if there's anywhere you wish you could live in the United States, you know, where would you live? I said, well, I'm kind of living where I want to live. You know, I tell people all the time, you know, if you are unhappy where you're at, you know, I was fortunate enough that I didn't have anything to tie me to one area, you know, but, you know, don't be afraid to take a jump. You know, when I was young and I had a business in Las Vegas doing pest control, I didn't really realize it until I opened the business that it was like a step in the wrong direction for me, because I wasn't going to stay in Las Vegas for that much, for, you know, like 24 years old. I'm like, wasn't even thinking about how young I was. I was just thinking like, damn, if I get married and have kids, I don't want my kids growing up here. And then I was like, why didn't I think of this before I fucking spent all this money on this business? You know? So I tell people, you know, I can't tell you how many times I see people that just sell everything and move, or quit like even the guy from Stone Temple Pilots quit his job as a whatever he was doing somewhere. He had a college degree. He was working as an analyst or something, doing something. So that's what I read in the Rolling Stone anyways. But and just said, fuck it, you know, I want to be a rock star. And, you know, left a job making really good money in San Diego, blah, 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 blah. And, you know, don't be afraid to take a chance. I've been taking chances my entire life, and I am extremely grateful. You know, all things work together for good, for the glory of God. You know, you can do anything. You know, you can live anywhere. You can fucking rehab a van. You can sleep in a van and shower at the gym. Go out while you can and start. You know, that's the biggest piece of advice I give to people. Don't wait. Go out, and I don't care if you're 60 years old. If you're tired, when the minutia of life becomes too repetitive. You know, that's why I've lived in 5 different states. I've lived in Sacramento. I've never even been to San Francisco. I drove there from Sacramento. I looked at it. I said, yeah, I'll find a place to live here. I don't even remember. I think I looked in the newspaper because the iPhone 3 was just released. The minutia of life when it... Like at my last job doing concrete and shit, man, it's like, man, I didn't get sober and lose 100 pounds, and God put me in this position to be who I am, to work here. I'm not above. I've been paying my fucking dues since I was 14, washing dishes, shoveling snow for neighbors and people on my block, and having a paper route, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to work here and have mandatory fucking Saturdays and shit. So go live you gotta take life, you know, pray about it, take life and just go, you know, go for it, man, because you're not gonna sit on your deathbed, if you're lucky enough to even have a deathbed. You know, life could just end suddenly like it did for both of my brothers, and I'll tell you, I'm not living like that. You know, I'm not living with regrets. I'm not living with addiction. I'm not living, you know, I'm not getting tied down to, you know, I'm not marrying somebody that, you know, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I'm living my life, you know, and my life, I'm not stopping my life for nobody, and nor should you wait for anybody or anything like that.